Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and shalom, and whatever greeting that you have from your culture, as long as it's respectful. Yeah, this is going to be the last live of the year. And hopefully next year is fruitful, merciful, and productive, way more than this year, because that's actually going to be the topic of the stream. Was this another wasted year for most of us, or for many of us, right? Some of us, I think, used the opportunities in this year with COVID and the lockdowns. Bear with me, this last day with the freaking fire alarm. I forgot to check what batteries were for this fire alarm. I bought AA batteries, and it's the old school 9V. In this house, it seemed like a new house, so that's why I got AA, because, you know, newer fire alarms have it. So bear with me. I'm sorry. Promise last time. This is the last day of the year. I think it'll end up being a good motivator for New Year's resolutions, right? So anyway, I don't know how to sleep through that thing. I sleep through that, for at least a couple hours a day. I don't know how, But anyway, was this another wasted year for many of us? For me, in a lot of ways, it was. I'm going to be honest. I could have done a lot better. I could have learned a new language. So I actually really wanted to pick up Arabic really bad. So there was like a couple of channels I followed, and I was like, oh man, this would be a cool way to learn Arabic. And I don't have to pay for, Rosetta Stone and all this crap, you know what I mean? Because, I took 2 years of Spanish. I know what like testing for another language is, as opposed to just learning it organically feels like, because I don't speak a lick of Spanish. Mi español es muy poquito. I don't speak any Spanish whatsoever. I've never had to speak Spanish like a day in my life. I took a Spanish test, and I speak a few phrases, and that was it. So that being said, that affected my experience of how I feel about learning new languages in particular. So I could have learned a new language. I could have gone to school, like a lot of things, right? There's a lot of self-improvement I did, though. Physically, I think this year, more than any other year, I really focused on fitness. So I think I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in. In fact, compared to last year, I had a lot of issues with acid reflux, bloating, high blood pressure. I still suffer from sleep problems, but it was worse way back then. So yeah, I kind of found out what works for me, and that feels astronomical, because I think I'm in the best shape I've been in for freaking, almost a decade. You know what I mean? So I feel pretty proud of that. And I knew it seemed small for people, but when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, I look good. I feel good for the most part. I mean, I feel good emotionally, but I feel good like physically. You know what I mean? I feel like I have somewhat, at least a decent amount of energy. If I stay hydrated, I feel pretty good. So, I mean, there's people that can't walk. There's people that have serious illnesses, cancers, viruses, diseases, things like that prevent them from living their best life. So, I mean, I never take for granted your physical frame. You know what I mean? There's so many people out here disabled, mentally disabled too. There's no shade to those people. I think actually, real talk, I might have something wrong with me. I know when I was a kid, was diagnosed with ADHD, but I think it might be deeper than that. But that's beside the point. I'm not going to get into that. That'll be probably a separate video once I actually figure it out. But anyway, for me, this is another wasted year. I'm going to be honest, and I think for a lot of us, we don't want to be, honest with ourselves. I think a lot of us did waste a lot of this year. A lot of us were so used to going out and being stimulated by all these things around us, and we didn't take time to be productive, because this lockdown could have been astronomical for us. For some of us that have steady income, we have health insurance, we're not really stressed out financially. This could have been an amazing year for us to like just skyrocket somehow, to leap over the competition, and things like that. So, you constantly have to take every day seriously. Unfortunately, leisure is the American way, right? We playing video games, dating, all these other things, right? They kind of distract us from, things we could do for ourselves, or maybe actually do for others, making the world a better place. Like I could have volunteered at, maybe some food banks, homeless shelters, or something like that, But I'm gonna take that in mind. I'm gonna look back at this video tomorrow and be like, hey, no, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions anymore, because I think they're a bunch of crap. A lot of people just break them anyway. But I'll look back on this video and use this as a motivation for next year. So anyway, Yeah, I kind of wanted to just elaborate, like, what the next year is going to mean to me. The next year, I think this COVID stuff is still, especially here in California, it's not going to go away anytime soon. I think this lockdown stuff is going to be back and forth, back and forth. Different counties are going to fight hard for it for the state to open or their county to open, but unfortunately, there's also a lot of forces that don't believe in that because they act like, COVID's the worst thing that's ever happened in human history. I mean, and that's no diss to how many people have died from this virus, but in my honest opinion, I think one thing that was lost, and I think I'm going to do another video that basically elaborating on this. If America and all these countries took as much emphasis on locking down the country to prevent the spread of a virus or to stop, people from dying, imagine if they had that same energy for other issues that kill way more people each year. And these aren't people with pre-existing health conditions and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And, wallahi, I'm not going to diss anybody's death from COVID whatsoever. But the most people that are vulnerable from it and the most people that have been dying from it are what? Elderly people that are sickly and things like that. That's just that. Even, Dr. Fauci and all these doctors have admitted that, right? That's just straight up facts. So don't come here with, oh, you're saying this, you're saying stuff that's not factual. Like, I'm going off based upon what was told to me by the CDC and the doctors, right? So that's why I'm doing it. Thank you, Nicer. Hey, Nicer, just giving you a heads up. I bought the wrong batteries for the fire alarm. It is the last stream of the year, so I'm not going to the store now because the line is crazy. I'm not going back to the corner store or anything like that. But tomorrow, inshallah, it's going to be there. Okay. They don't have the same smoke for solving the problems of crime and poverty. And I live in Cali, so hey, like, it's out there. It's out there. I see it every day. You want to lock down the country or lock down the county or the state and stuff like that to save people's lives, but you're not out there providing jobs or providing homes for the homeless, which is a lot easier than locking down the whole state, in my opinion. Two, is the country putting that much emphasis on locking down the country in as solving the opioid crisis and drug addiction in this country? Now, there's different theories of how to solve this problem. I believe personally in decriminalization, except for the drug dealers, right? For the users, decriminalize it. Provide the people with help to rehab facilities and stuff like that based on the state budget and things like that, and the demographics, how many addicts that people have in their respective states, things like that, and provide opportunities and release non-violent drug offenders, period. That's where I stand on that. However, I do think that if you follow the news recently, Pfizer got sued and went to court with the federal government, and nobody went to jail. They just paid a couple $1 billion or something like that. And it's like, okay, you paid the government a couple $1 billion, but is that going to go to rehab, drug prevention, and things like that? Probably not. It's just going to go in the hands of, the people that run the country. I hate to say it, but it is what it is, right? I mean, there's no transparency in where this money is going. So, does the country have the same want to lock down the states also based upon how many Americans die each year from automobile accidents? How many Americans are dying every day from homicides, whether it be from gun violence? Because gun violence is like the head, like, right? Everybody talks about gun violence. A lot of people are getting killed by, blunt objects, weapons, knives, things like that. And there isn't this emphasis on solving that crime problem either, especially in our cities. And I'm not going to be like, oh, what about Chicago's people? But I talked to people from Chicago. Like, nobody really is talking. Everybody just kind of gave up. It's kind of sad. Like, people are literally they just given up on the conversation because they realize nothing's ever going to change. It's never going to change whatsoever because just the culture has gotten that deteriorated to where now you have a culture now officially promoting the violence in Chicago on top of the situation, the corruption in the city, the poverty, things like that. And there's already one thing to suffer through poverty and things like that. You look at other countries, right? People are poor all over the world, right? But when you get a culture that supports that, then you're going to just see the problem is going to get, a lot worse. It's just like the same thing if you see like the Middle East, right? Like culturally, 99.9% of the population of those people over there don't want to freaking get a bomb and strap it to themselves and blow themselves up. That's just a narrative that right-wing pundits over here in the U.S. and then in the Western world like to put out there. But no, most of those people just want to, do everything that we do. They want to eat, sleep, crap in peace and go to bed. And then and then just live a normal life, right? However, the problem is when you have people that are from those places that promote a culture there on top of their political situations, their economic situations, and their social strife that's going on over there, and they promote the violence, they promote terrorism and stuff like that. That's when those problems get a lot worse. And we've seen it, in the last couple of decades, when you have people that promote a culture of supporting that, then that's what's going to happen. Because if you look at it, a lot of terrorism from those regions hasn't really happened until the last couple of decades. And people really aren't thinking about how that's happened. It's happened for a multitude of reasons. It's just not, quote, religion. It's not just, quote, oh, these people are just inherently bad people. That's a bunch of garbage. It has to do with, many different factors. So, I think this is a wasted year. I think that people could have taken time to think about, hey, why is it that we spend so much time and effort in this country on COVID and locking down the country than actually solving the problems of, whether it be, racism or, perceived sexism, because I believe that there is sexism, but it's not what people make it out to be. I don't believe in the wage gap and things like that. Problems with, domestic violence, crime, drug addiction, infrastructure too, because think about it. A lot of America used to be the economic powerhouse of the world, and it's no longer not. It's China. Nobody questions why that is, right? We could have brought back, jobs back to the U.S. We could have put people to work, bringing back factories, supporting entrepreneurship, supporting organic farming, urban farming from these cities that have food deserts. Nobody at Capitol Hill really put out that message. Instead, it was like the Green New Deal and all this crap that people really it's just a bunch of fancy language, and they're really not putting out what it means. We need more people with influence like JT, the bigger figure. Oh yeah, that's my boy. I recently discovered him too. So O'Shea had him on his channel because there was some guy in the country that he moved to, Burkina Faso, that got killed by the military. I don't know if this guy was not right in the head or something like that. But JT, the bigger figure, he was like, you're an idiot. How are you going to move to a country and think you can get away with the same stuff you did in America? You know what I'm saying? Like people over in other countries don't play around with foolishness. And especially black people in America forget that we are American. Just because you're the same skin tone as people over there doesn't mean they're going to treat you the same. Because I know we feel some type of way when people from other countries come over here and start acting wild. You really think they want to deal with your dysfunction and your stupidity over on their home turf? Hell no. Yeah, some people want us to come back to the motherland, but they want the good people. They want all the idiots and the dysfunctional people to stay back the hell over here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was following his stuff, man. Really knowledgeable guy. He's smart. I think he's a Muslim brother too. You know what I'm saying? From some of the stuff that I've seen from him, he quoted the Quran a couple of times in some of his videos. And, and that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? At the very least, he lives in Burkina Faso, which is a Muslim majority country. So if he's not Muslim, he doesn't have any smoke for Muslims. He actually probably likes them and has many friends. And that's just as cool for me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the gangster rap is toxic and it's disgusting. I'm from Texas. So in Dallas alone, we've had so many rappers shot in Dallas. And a lot of them were from out of town too. And a lot of it is like those Chicago dudes bringing that down to Texas. In Texas, we do have a problem, don't get me wrong, with gun violence just as much as anywhere else, but it's not on the same level as Chicago. Houston, Texas has, I believe, is a bigger city than Chicago. It's either a bigger city than Chicago. It's like the third largest city in the country. I think Chicago might be like fourth or second, one of those two. But we have a similar population, similar demographics in Texas, but we have less gun violence than Chicago, less murders in Chicago. So, that says it all, right? And we actually have also really bigger cities. We have San Antonio and Dallas and stuff like that, really big cities too, that in El Paso. that have less gun violence in Chicago too. So that being said, yeah, gangster rap is a problem. And I think that the problem with the culture now is because this is my personal opinion, especially black people, we get defensive about our culture, right? Likewise, because our culture has been dissed from the jump since we arrived in this country. Oh, they're savages, they're ignorant, their music is nothing but a bunch of nonsense, stupid, And, people say that about any other culture, right? I mean, you look across the world, like some people say, oh, I don't listen to, white people can't dance and their music is garbage, or Asians, they sound weird, their music is goofy, you know what I mean? And Spanish music, I don't understand what they're saying. Their music is goofy. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. But with us, it's like we're really sensitive to the words of that because we're an emotional people. And so hip hop has been out for 40 years. I think a lot of hip hop especially has really put an emphasis on the black experience in America, whether it be consciously or through having a good time or through gangster rap. And when gangster rap first comes out, a lot of people use the thing where it's like, oh, we're speaking about reality. Granted, that's true. Hey, we're speaking about our environment, but it reached a point where it really did become like overnight. Really, it's about pushing dysfunction. It's about promoting dysfunction. It's about making dysfunction entertaining. It's about making a dysfunction seem cool. Like it's cool to be a thug. It's cool to be ignorant. It's cool to be stupid. It's cool to be violent. It's cool to treat your woman like crap. And I honestly sympathize sometimes because I even talk to Africans about it. I'm like, they're like, hey, we would never ever like put this stuff out where we're coming from. Like this is like, we love you guys, but this is disgraceful. Some of the stuff that you guys are doing, it's stupid. And for instance, like imagine this, right? I even thought about this because I don't have a lot of friends. I have a few friends that are Arabs and stuff like that, and I think about it. Like in their culture, they have a lot of problems too. They have, violence, gun violence over there. They have terrorism and stuff like that in some of those countries. They're going through civil wars and things like that. Even in their culture, you don't see a bunch of people come out of the way saying, I want to strap a bomb to myself and blow myself up. I want to beat our woman and force them to wear clothes that look like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to kill Americans. Like, that's not something that they really promote, like in a music, in like an entertainment-based industry, right? Because they know that obviously you got enough problems. So if you make it that mentality entertaining, it's going to promote it again and again and again for each generation. So you have young kids right now raised in these environments, and their parents don't care about what they're listening to because their parents are listening to it too. So these kids are growing up and they're being influenced by this, and it's absolute garbage. It's complete garbage. And a lot of the times when I do listen to rap now, I listen to very few new artists. And if I do listen to rap, a lot of the hip hop I listen to more of the instrumental stuff. I can listen to more of the beats and things like that. I think are pretty cool. But I mean, lyrically, listen to some of the stuff. I'm like, bro, we wonder why there's so many dudes strung out on drugs. We wonder why there's so many dudes out here in dysfunctional relationships with women and females. They got baby mama here, baby mama over there that they ain't taking care of. It's because, we wonder why every other girl wants to create OnlyFans. It's because this culture, it is promoting that. And it's making that cool. And thinking for yourself, thinking outside the box, doing the right thing, like as far as, working hard on something that's positive, that's frowned upon. That's looked upon as goofy and corny. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I completely get that notion. Anybody that got smoked for me for saying that, so be it. There's a lot of people that defend that stuff. They're like, oh, it's just music. It's just music. Let some white boy come out with country songs talking about killing black people. And then let's see how you feel about that. Even white people, when they in their music, they don't obsess about killing their own people. Like all these rappers out here, they're not talking about having smoke for the police. Like, hey, like out here saying, I'm going to cap this. I'm going to cap the police tonight. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to ride or die. I'm going to shoot up the police station. No, guess what they're talking about shooting up? They ain't talking about disrespecting no white woman. Yeah, and here like, oh, I'm going to get a snow bunny and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are a few that do, but they're not going to play that on the radio. And eventually they are going to get some smoke from the record company. Like, hey, you ain't talking about my daughter. Hell no. I mean, in China recently, they kicked out. There was a basketball player that took a really provocative photo with a Chinese woman. She was like twerking on him on his lap while he was laying down on the couch. And he posted that on social media. They kicked him out. They kicked him out of the team. They kicked him out of China because they're saying, "Hey, you're not bringing that mess to here. You're not. Even if you wanted to do that, we're not promoting that. We're not saying that's unacceptable to us because we're really image conscious." So yeah, man, I agree. I agree. Yeah, so let's see how long this has been streaming because I know it's New Year's. I know you got better things to do. I know everybody's got better things to do. So that being said, I'm probably gonna. I send out a couple when I do these. I try to send some invites out to people. Yeah, and I sent out a couple of invites like 20 minutes ago. So I've been running this for a little bit. I try not to make these real long because if I'm not having panels, right? If I'm not having panels, why am I going to invite people up here? I mean, if I'm not having panels, why am I going to sit up here and talk and ramble on for an hour? To me, that looks stupid. I want to get people engaged in this. So yeah, if I'm not going to have a panel, I'm not going to sit up here and stay and keep this lifelong. People ain't going to jump in. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good though. I know it's New Year's, people getting ready to get turned up and stuff. I don't know how they're going to get turned up that much. I mean, they're probably saying they're getting turned up and they're not really telling people what they're doing because obviously there's people still having parties and even though we're supposed to be social distancing and all that stuff. So, I'm not going to put them on blast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, do you live your best life? Shoot, I don't have enough friends to even do that. So I'm not doing that. I don't even drink anymore. So, I mean, the notion of doing that just, it seems like a waste of time to me. I'm gonna stay home, stay safe, and, just chill, kick it, you know what I mean? Because I know tomorrow I want to be productive. So yeah, thank you, Nicer, yet again for stopping by. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. You always come up here and show love. You've been up here, last couple of times. I really appreciate it. So I hope you're having a good New Year. I'm not sure what time zone you're in, but stay safe, stay humble. Hope your next year is blessed and merciful. Happy New Year. Yeah. So don't forget about what you did this year or how this year was for you. I know for pretty much most people in the world, it sucked. So reflect on that. And tomorrow, hopefully we can make next one even better. Take care.